Hi, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am your no BS woo woo coach, Megan McDonough. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about trust and fear. How to discern what your intuition is and use it as your North Pole as a way to kind of break through the fog of confusion and misinformation and illusion. Okay, so I actually wrote this one out today because I just had a lot on my mind and I wanted it to get it out there. Trust and fear is the difference between the physical and the eternal, or flip that, the eternal and the physical. Trust being the eternal, fear being the physical. We're both human and spirit, right? We're consciousness and matter. And one of the main illusions in this world is that the matter, this, is the truth. So matter is actually an obstacle to truth. In yoga, it's called Maya. And it's the illusion that all you see, hear, touch, smell, and taste is drawing you to a further conclusion that matter is real. Matter is the only reality. But what all the ancient texts and most religions say or allude to is that spark within you, that light, that spirit, that consciousness, that is what's real, because that is eternal. Eternal trusts, eternal loves. It has no reason to fear because it knows all. It knows all time, all space, all lifetimes. It cannot get confused by or corrupted by reason or passing fads. It cannot be swayed by passionate speech or ill intent. It is truth. Fear is a challenge of the human form. It helps us not to lose our beautiful human costume our spirit is living in, by letting us know that fire burns, accidents happen, and our human costume is fragile. All of our human costumes are fragile. So in order to keep them, we inherently fear everything that challenges their loss. But our eternal soul is never scared or confused or fearful of that, because its truth, its love, its trust is eternal, right? I remember my yoga teacher saying to me once that you can rationalize anything. I mean, that, if you unpack it, that is the truth. I mean, it took me a minute to ponder it, but I see that that is true. You can rationalize and argue anything. Rationalization is just a sexy, more advanced version of fear in action, right? Which can cause a lot of confusion. You can rationalize your religion, your politics, your life choices. But when you dig deep down into why you hold those rationalizations, the seed is most likely rooted in fear. Fear of change, fear of suffering, which also can be rationalized, fear of aggression, fear of imbalance, fear of being alone, fear of death, fear of not mattering, not being special. I often use the phrase that there is no good or bad, there just is. And what is information. So when one is experimenting from a scientific perspective, information can be extremely supportive in that it helps solve a problem, an issue, or maybe the key to accomplishing your goal. Information can be extracted through the wisdom of others, your own experience, an expert's assessment. If the information is filtered through some sort of rationalization or quality, like good or bad, that filter confuses the experiment, it contaminates it, right? So the information is processed in the brain. The brain is the CEO of the body. The transient physical costume our souls find themselves in is what the brain is the CEO of. The brain, being connected to the body, also experiences emotions connected to the body, like fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, and pain, and suffering. The eternal soul is not connected to those emotions. But just like the brain being the CEO of our bodies, the soul also has a CEO, which is the heart mind. That's what I call it. Not the physical heart, but the heart mind. This is experienced, in my opinion, as intuition, the voice of your soul. The emotions, if they are at all connected with the soul and the heart mind and intuition, are those of trust, faith, creativity, and love. If all forms of fear can be boiled down to one, being the fear of death, the thing which does not die, our eternal soul self, or eternal souls, will not own that experience of fear. So all of this to rationalize, yes, pun intended, or communicate that I have found, this is what I found to be true. What I've noticed and why I think it's an important discussion at this moment in time. Fear, anxiety, illusion, concentration on materialism, rationalization, hatred, anger, separation are all confusing our internal and external unity, our soul unity and our physical unity. The word intuition, I believe, is used very freely now, which I think is great. But what I've noticed is that there's some confusion about what true intuition is. I did another podcast that where I talk about intuition versus instinct, and instinct being connected to the physical body and the fear of the physical body being lost. So instinct does own fear, but intuition does not. That was one talk I did, one podcast episode that I can link here below. And the other was intuition versus imagination, which comes from the mind. So imagination, you can control. Intuition, you cannot. Intuition will tell you like it is. Imagination can play around, right? And imagination is also connected to emotions. So true intuition is not attached to any fear-based feelings like anger, hate, separation. Intuition rarely offers advice, guidance, or communication with us through emotion at all. It is rarely loud. It is usually subtle. It is usually quiet, simple, grounded, and detached. As we move further into this year, a year where emotional stakes are high in the US and around the world, misinformation, valid rationalizations, big fears, more separation to that union, I wanted to offer this particular reflection on clarity and what to listen to, what information to allow yourself to be guided by. So your soul has one goal: to guide you through the lessons you agreed to experience in this life now. Experience this transient human costume to elevate and expand its eternal consciousness. So when you look to your intuition for guidance as the commander and communicator for your soul, you got to know how it speaks to you. So observe it like a scientist. Is my intuition speaking loud, or does it speak quiet? Is it still? Is it active? Is this voice that I'm hearing, feeling, or experiencing as my intuition, is it trusting or is it fearful? What I have noticed in my practice and with others is that intuition is rarely loud unless it truly needs to be. It is detached. It is simple. It is rooted in love and connection. It does not operate from fear or fear-based emotions. It does not separate. There are active ways to communicate with your intuition through silent meditation, clearing the mind or brain talk, and listening with empathy and emptiness, without agenda. Meditating. You can speak directly to your intuition through techniques like the psychic rose or just straight up asking. The answer you receive is simple, detached, consistent, based in love and connection without judgment or fear. That is your soul speaking to you. That is your truth. That is your North Star. That is the way to guide yourself forward through a time of chaos and confusion and misinformation. Allow it to guide you. Trust it. Okay, that's all I got today. I'm also going to add, an article that I recently came upon about intuition and what they're finding. It looks as though the article is not fully done, scientific article, and to further understand intuition and what there were two, it was like a 3-part series, and so far I could only find 2 of the 3 parts. So I'm assuming the 3rd part has not been done yet, but I will post that. And what it says is that they found that intuition is guided by the heart, as if the heart had consciousness guiding the intuition. Secondly, in the second experiment, or what have you, of this scientific study, they said that the heart and the mind actually work in unison with intuition. And the third, I believe they were trying to decipher if the heart led or the mind led. In my experience, it's the heart, but I would love to see what the scientific paper says. So I will add that to you, for you, if you need a little rationalization around all this woo-woo stuff. In addition, coming up, I have a quarterly workshops called C3 Create Connect Consciously, and they are focus on the energy of the moon cycle as a connection to our intuition and our creativity. But the first one coming up is in February, I believe February 11th. And the focus on this one particularly is trust yourself. So I'm going to go over some tools and techniques as to how to figure out what is your intuition, what is your fear, what is your instinct, what is your fear, what is your imagination, what is your intuition, right? I think I said that right. I think I might have said fear for, anyway, point is, how do you trust yourself? How do you know what to listen to, what to trust? How do you quiet the noise of information, rationalization, anxiety, and fear? Through a time of massive misinformation, fear, anxiety, and illusion, essentially. So that is all on my website at magnetizeyourlight.com. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me, info@magnetizeyourlight.com, or I would love to hear if you have another perspective on this. So feel free to comment or find me on all socials at Magnetize Your Light, and let me know how you discern intuition and fear. Do you find that they are 2 separate things? All right. Have a wonderful week. Big buckets of love. Make some magic today. Talk to you soon.